Hello, everyone. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from different parts of the world. So I am Mariam Suleiman. So I'm going to be your moderator for this month's webinar series on speaking in conferences. And it's going to be delivered by our wonderful and beautiful panelist, Jacquelyne. I don't know, some of you might know her, some of you don't. She's the East Africa Regional Coordinator for WMI. And she also have experiences with non-profit organizations in Uganda. She has also worked as a program manager with Children's Aid Fund Uganda and was also an executive director with Uganda Network of Young People Living with HIV and AIDS. She has also volunteered with various organizations and served as board chair for the global network of people living with HIV, and as well as on the board of Athena Network. She has created 2 foundations. She's a founder of 2 very great foundations. The first is the Jacquelyne Sozi Foundation, and then the second, Link Up Consultancy Management. And she has also received both a WMI COVID-19 Community Response Grant for this foundation and also a WMI Community Seeds Grant to support these foundations. So she's a 2015 WMI graduate scholar with a bachelor's degree in social sciences and diplomas in guidance and counseling and physiology. So Jacquelyne, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for willing to be our panelist for today's webinar. So I think you have the floor now.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. My name is Jacquelyne Alesi. I'm based in Uganda. I am the WMI Regional Coordinator for Eastern Africa, just like how Mariam has introduced me. So I have an honor to do a presentation to you this morning, afternoon, evening, to the different people, all of you out there listening. So I'm hoping that you can see my screen that I'm sharing. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, we can see your screen. Can see your screen.
So if you can see my screen, that people, you know, perfect, perfect. All right. So I'm like I told you my assignment was to for today's webinar. I have a few slides. What I just want is for me to be talking to you and answering most of your questions that you've been having around challenges or issues, or how you would love also to be speakers in different conferences. So my what's up for today for our discussion, we shall choose between a speaker and a presenter, what you need to know if invited as a speaker, and the last one is for information for you. Thank you. Okay, so the first in stock for us is for you to first know anything about our today's topic, is for you to know who a speaker is. So in most cases, a speaker is a person who is oftenly referred to a person who makes a presentation in a general session or at the general session. For example, this person is invited to make like an elevator like pitch, like someone to just close out or open out a session that that this person is going to be speaking. For example, I'll give an example. I have been invited to speak, for example, on a closing ceremony of the International AIDS Conference, for example, in Mexico. I would give that because that's the latest. And my role was to make sure that I am speaking the different, the community of PLHIV is talking about in different countries. So I was able to make that speech. I mean, the overall comments from the different countries of networks in different countries. So I was invited as a speaker, not a presenter. It is something that very many times people look at in different ways. That is why my next slide is going to be differentiating for you who a speaker is and who a presenter is. So a speaker is someone who speaks. Of course, a presenter also speaks. But a speaker, they don't expect you to give everything. They expect you to be speaking, and at the end of the day, your speech is supposed to be understood. You're supposed to speak and be understood. So I can define this as a speaker is someone who speaks. Of course, a presenter also speaks, but this one is expected to speak. The other one is a loudspeaker. When you hear someone say you're a speaker, they expect you to be loud. They don't expect you to be someone who speaks at a very low voice, because you're not going to make the presentation, for example, on the you're going to present something, you're going to speak, meaning you're expected to be a loud speaker. The other one about a speaker is someone who makes a speech to an audience, which is actually the same things that you need to know about who a speaker is. So a speaker is supposed to be someone who makes a speech to an audience. And then a presenter is someone who presents a broadcast, broadcast program, a campaign. Like, for example, a presenter you cannot say a speaker of ceremony. You say a master of ceremony because you're expecting this one is going to be a presenter. At the end of the day, this person is going to be doing presentations on different people. But for you as a speaker, you only come and make a speech that you make sure that everyone understands at the end of your speech. A person to someone else. Now, that's very different from being a speaker. When you are a speaker, you are expected to speak like a presenter. You're supposed to show well, you're supposed to present. You're supposed to make sure there is this thing that to really understand that this is what you're talking about. I hope I'm being clear in that. So the other one you need to know is the speaker's priority and the presenter's concerns is always around the same thing, and that is skills. In most cases, what gives you the credit when you are a speaker is your skills you have. When I first spoke, for example, in 2008, I was invited as speaker, and I had never been, to a big conference. And I am here in Senegal, I'm going to speak, and I'm like, what am I going to even say? But then I remember to myself, there was something about me that I had, and that was the experience, like the experience of, they wanted me to talk about who I was, not what other people were. I was not presenting what other people are. I was supposed to talk about who I was to make a presentation as a speaker, not as a presenter, meaning they expected me to just present, who Jacquelyne was in context of the said topic. So in most cases, a speaker is, you need, your priority is skills. The same thing with presenters concern is the skills. If a presenter cannot make people understand what he or she is presenting, even having PowerPoint, then there is a problem. There is a big problem. That means there is a problem of skills for the presenter to become even, to even be in that platform. You've been in meetings or conferences, for those of you who have had a chance, and you've seen you leave the meeting without understanding anything, even when you are seeing, PowerPoint. But the question is that what is supposed to be? Was that the right person to do that presentation? That means there was something that was lacking, as we are going to see in our next slide. So there's something I also want you to understand. When you are a keynote, there's something that this very word itself helps us to understand, the intention of the position, meaning you are supposed to set the tone of the entire event. If you have a chance to speak as a keynote speaker, that means they're giving you the opportunity to set the tone of the entire event or conference. Meaning everyone, if you are lucky and you've made the best presentation, trust me, everyone who is going to come and speak is going to make reference to your speech. I have had a chance to be a keynote speaker. And one thing that amazes me is that you find yourself people making reference to something that you said even earlier on, and you find yourself, it being given as a reference in the whole meeting. For example, I've been in a conference where, for example, it's 1 week. I am a keynote speaker, for example, in the beginning of the conference, and in the whole meeting, even at the closure of the ceremony, it is made as a reference. That is what a keynote speaker should be, or should pitch, where you're very on that word that you're going to say. I'll give an example. There are those people who keep on inviting other people. Like, for example, like I've told you, the keynote speaker is like the one who sets the entire tone for the event. Then there are those people who will come and speak and speak and speak and speak, but they are presenters. A speaker is someone who has been specifically invited, for this, for this particular part, whereby she's not come to do a presentation, she's come to speak. So when she is speaking, you expect to listen what she's speaking, and you have to make sure as a speaker, you understand, you make sure that people understand what you're speaking. So the keynote speaker is usually, sometimes they think it's a celebrity. Myself, I'm not a celebrity, but I find myself being a keynote speaker or even a speaker. But what makes you a celebrity or a keynote speaker is what you do in your community. And in most cases, what you do can really give you platforms. We don't, you don't need to be every time on in Facebook and what, which is okay, which is very good, but you need to set, yourself. If you are invited as a speaker, what is it that I'm going to give the people? Are they just going to know, oh yeah, this is her, you need to make sure that you have that special in you that has made you to be called a speaker for the conference, so that special thing that has identified you as a speaker, you're supposed to make sure that you bring it out when you have been given an opportunity to become a speaker or a keynote speaker. Yeah, so in most cases, the speakers or the keynote speakers are given the most time. That means if you are not careful, you find yourself speaking things that you're not supposed to speak, or speaking things that you were supposed to speak, but people have enjoyed. So it's very important for you to know that you're always given the biggest time during a presentation. That's between 30 to 90 minutes. So what you say during those minutes, it's up to you, because at the end of the day, you'll have to make sure that people ask you or want to really ask you questions or want to understand or would love to applaud you for what you've said. I hope that is very, very clear. So our last part of this presentation, I told you it's very brief. I want us to just talk. There are a few things that we can do more, that can do more damage to a beautifully conceived conference than inappropriate topics or incompetent speakers. You know one thing about speaking in conferences, if you have been identified as a speaker and you are not appropriate for that topic that has been given to you, I would kindly ask or beg, don't go for it. Because one, you are going to make people who want to listen to you more confused. And two, you are going to have yourself confused because you would love to present about everything. Myself, ever since 2008, I've been doing the same, I've been in the same line. When I try to move away, I find myself not, bringing out, the flavors of a speaker. So you can actually damage a beautifully organized conference when you have a very a wrong speaker with a wrong topic. Things that I would love you to put as information. Please be very careful to avoid some of these things. The other one for information for those of you who would want to be speakers is usually a speaker needs a speaker's needs will depend on the topic to be addressed, but sometimes it may get reversed. Like I said in the previous information or the first one, is that when you are given a topic, take note of one thing. Is this what I can do? Okay, can I try it out, or will I bring out the best of me? Will it be something that the people, the intakers, will understand? Because in most cases, we think that whatever we say is what we want people to understand, and we end up disappointing people, not getting the information that they need. So please, when you are given a topic as a speaker, pack your things well. Like pack yourself, pack your the notes, well, so that whenever you have this note that comes up during the conference or the meeting, you're not doing it beyond. The other one that I need you to also have as information, if a speaker is selected because of his or her reputation for making dynamic presentation and the topic is determined solely by the speaker's preference, this can lead to unpleasant surprise when the topic is out of sync with the purpose of the conference. For example, in most cases, when a speaker is given, it's around all the topics and individuals, personalities. Make sure that you get the right, make sure when you are being invited as a speaker, you are also making sure that the topic is what you have been expecting. As we try to conclude this, the one way to avoid this problem with speaker topics is to put out a call for papers. So when you see a call out of papers, sometimes speakers can choose, to be, can be then chosen from correspondence. For example, there are topics that I've been invited to and I'm like, no, that's not me. I cannot do that. And someone's like, no, we saw you present the other time. It was good. I was like, yes, that was that topic, but this is not me. But however, I can, I can refer you to someone who is good in this in that topic speaker because you've been invited, and you will try as much as possible to be called by a conference committee if you can hear me. The other is to make sure that if the people are responsible for the conference have done enough homework. In most cases, we don't have people do enough homework about the speakers, and we end up missing the whole conference. So to me, that is what I had for you in stock, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that are around those, the topic of today's session. So thank you very much for listening in. If there were internet connections, apologies for that. And if everything was okay, if you had everything, I'll take the mic to Mariam as a moderator for the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, Jacquelyne. I'm very sure all of us here gained a lot from your presentation. Okay, so there's a question. How do attending conferences improves one's professional, should I say professional skills or experiences? Like as you go along your career path, how does attending conferences improves you? Like, I don't know if you get the question.
Yeah, I totally get the question. So, like I told you, I started my speaking role in 2008, and it has never been the same for me. It has improved the individual I am, and it has also improved my my CV, because in most cases I find myself being invited even at a meeting that I wasn't sure of, but then someone says, oh, you alone can do this, this particular part. So career-wise, it has improved my confidence in terms of who I am. Sometimes people don't believe in themselves. Sometimes people try as much as possible to put down themselves because they know very many people will judge them, like their appearance or who they are. But professionally, it has helped me, it has shaped me as a person. Even when I go and speak, I'm sure I'm not going to be judged because of how I look, but I'm going to be judged of the words that come out of my mouth. So every time I have an opportunity to speak, it's more of a chance. I speak, there's someone who gets even encouraged to do the same. So my career has helped me network, network. My network has grown. Like I have a big network of friends around the world. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Jacquelyne. And another question is, okay, we have you mentioned during the last part of the presentation where you have call for conferences and all, and then you'll be asked to probably submit papers and all. So how does one how does one get to be put out a strong application for these conferences? Like how do you increase your chances of getting selected in these conferences?
Yeah, so in one of the things, you increase the chances of you being invited, to have your papers or to be called as a speaker, is, like I told you, create your bio, create yourself. What I have seen about our young people or the youths, they expect that someone else is going to build them. If you want to be seen, build your CV, meaning create, for example, use your social media platforms well. I've seen very many people, have a very good following, but they are not using their social media platforms well. Those social media platforms, people out there actually look at them a lot. In terms of, if you are to be given an opportunity, someone would be like, oh, let me first see his or her social media. And then they go and check out your social media and they find a lot of, things which are not connected to who they want to invite or whose paper, who has submitted a paper. You've submitted this good paper and research is done and you are not the same person as who was, in the paper. So I know our last webinar, someone was giving us something to do with the social marketing or the media marketing. Digital marketing.
Yes.
I remember that I was watching on Facebook, and it was something that, if all of us actually had a chance to look at it, have a chance to participate in it, it would be actually a very good connection with what I'm talking about. If you are to make a presentation or a paper, make sure you also brand yourself. Sometimes branding yourself also varies on your platforms that you use. Right now, everything is digital. Someone to confirm that, this person is this, what he or she is saying, they'll go and look out for this person's name and they'll see different side of you. So meaning, even though your paper is not bad as such, you're going to get, your chances of being considered will be low. So my call to you all is that, for example, if you to get a very good paper, also have people look through your papers. People don't have time to have other people look through their papers, and people just end up submitting alone. Personally, sometimes when I am to submit something, I have a chance and have someone looks at it. And this is something I learned, and it has helped me improve every time I submit a paper. I don't know whether I've been clear, and if it's not clear, please let me know. I will explain more.
And that was very clear. Thank you very much, Jacquelyne. Another question from Leju Jansuk. So thank you for the presentation, Jacquelyne. But when someone asks you to speak on a topic you are not comfortable with, what do you do? And if you ended up speaking anyhow, how do you prepare yourself to put up a moving speech? Did you get that, Jacquelyne?
Yeah, I did. I did. So one thing I told you in my presentation, avoid taking on topics that are not yours. Because in most cases, you're going to end up messing, yourselves and other people's, time. One of the things you need to know when you're a speaker, there are very many people listening to you, and you're also listening to yourself. You have to be honest that after talking everything you've talked, have you been sincere to yourself in terms of even the speech you've made? Have people understood you, or you've just made it because you've been invited? So in speaking, a no is not bad. When you're invited and you're not, conversant with a topic, a no is not bad. Sometimes people think when you reject and say no, it means you will not be given another opportunity. Actually, when you give a no, someone will respect you and understand this is the person who she or he is. So in most cases, if you want to continue and do the presentation, even after it's not your topic, the first question you're going to now ask yourself, the first question is going to be, how am I going to do it even? But the first thing I would encourage you is do research. Do research about the topic, practice. Don't allow to be given the topic tomorrow, and then you're doing the presentation today and you expect you're going to deliver quality. No. In most cases, if you want to give yourself a time, if you are not conversant with the topic, give yourself time, a minimum of 1 week to do enough research. For example, I have an invitation for October where I'm supposed to speak. The topic is something I know about, but I'm supposed to do enough research. So researching when you are a speaker is the best thing you can give to yourself. Because one thing that you're going to know is that at the end of the day, someone is actually going to Google what you've said. Everything is digital. Someone is going to go out there and Google, oh, did Leju just say this? And then they Google and say, that's wrong. So to be quoted wrong, I mean, to avoid being quoted wrong, please do enough research. Even when it's not your topic, do enough research so that when you present, you don't blunder or make it even worse. Yeah. I hope that is clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jacquelyne. So the key word is do enough research before you go to the conference and make sure you practice enough. And then the next question from Tem Olive, I think is kind of the same thing with Adelaide. He asked, how do I even gather the courage to speak? I've been bullied, mocked, and self-confidence is really a difficult thing to do. How do I begin?
How did I do it myself is I first had an audience. The first people that you need to have as your audience are your closest people. You know, how to start speaking is you have to start with the people who you know, believe in you know, the confidence that you have. After that, you keep on increasing on your numbers. However, there are those who just get out of the cupboard and go out there and do a tremendous job. There are those people who are born bored, you know. For them, they are good to go at any time. And if that is not you who was born bored, but you want to become bored, start practicing to be bored. For example, start with your your network in terms of if you're at school, start participating in the school activities like the speaking opportunities. Start engaging yourself where you know you can speak. Bullying is something, if you've been bored, like, oh, that is actually, you have to say, I always tell people, if I experienced that, I don't know if I've had that happen to me, but if it has, one thing I've told people is, whenever something like that happens to you, just answer them by saying, if you are not here and I'm here, it means I'm better than you. That is one thing I always tell myself, and I've always told people who feel bullied when they have been, when there's been speakers. So if the person is not there and is bullying you or is booing you or whatever it is, the first thing you have to give your confidence, self about, or you have to cancel yourself and say, if I am here and you're not here, it means I'm better than you. That's why I'm here. So learn to have confidence, learn to build your self-confidence, learn to love yourself. In most cases, people don't love themselves. Sometimes becoming a speaker, you need to know yourself. You need to learn to practice in a mirror. Some people don't know how to practice speaking, but I want to tell you, use the mirror as your audience if you don't want people to hear you. If you see the mirror is laughing at you, that means there is a problem. So you have to make sure that when you're speaking and the mirror is laughing at you, the mirror is not the problem. The problem is you, because that means you've not yet built the confidence. So use the mirror is the best example of building your confidence. After the mirror, you can start engaging the closest network, like the family or school. And then you start like that, you'll end up actually becoming a very great speaker. But the first thing is start by yourself, love yourself, build confidence, and you'll do it. You'll actually speak. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Jacquelyne. So I guess you said just build your self-esteem, be confident. There's nobody's going to kill you for flopping. So the best thing is make sure you do enough practice in front of people. That improves one's confidence. When you do a lot of practice, you've already gotten used to what you want to talk about in the conference. And if you can talk in the crowd of let's say 3 to 4 people, definitely you can talk in a very, very large crowd. So just make sure you do a lot of practice, and then during the presentation, you find out that things will begin to flow smoothly. So Jacquelyne, yeah, the last question. So it says, how can I find opportunities to speak at conferences? Are there websites that list opportunities to apply for, and are speaking opportunities paid? Do they pay you to speak at conferences?
Yes. There is no conference I've gone to and I'm not paid to speak. Because when you have been invited as a speaker, you are actually paid, because that is something that that I don't know how it has happened to others, but to me, when I'm invited to as a speaker, it comes with a package of payment, and that comes because I am appreciated of what I do, and also because that is my profession. I can't sometimes I'm called on voluntary activities within the country, and they just say, oh, this is for your fuel, and then that is it. But when I leave the country, that package is paid, for. Also, for the opportunities, the conference opportunities, there is a lot of opportunities. The only thing we have in stock is going on the internet, making a lot of research about these conferences. First of all, first identify which area that you are in. For example, don't go for topics that you are not conversant with. The opportunities that are out there are for each and every area that every one of us has. There is for health, there is for ICT, there is for which other ones? I'm just talking about the two because I'm engineering. There is another one is for like, there are a lot of opportunities out there on the net. So my suggestion is, I cannot tell you go on this particular website and look for them. What I can just tell you is just go on Google, put in what you want to know about. For example, if it's about engineering, Google and say engineering speaking opportunities, and Google and see if they are there. They will tell you what you need to speak about, and you can see how you start applying for those opportunities. The same applies to other topics. My only tip to you is go to Google, search your particular area of expertise or the area you would want to know more about, and voila, you are there. You are there to learn and have the opportunities. The opportunities are there. Trust me, the opportunities are there. Despite COVID being there, the opportunities are there. I've been doing speaking even via Zoom, even with COVID. So the opportunities are there. Just one thing, please use the available chances, opportunities, and that is the Google and find out the topics that you want to learn about, the ones you want to do, and then you can see how you do it better. I hope that is I've answered your question, whoever asked it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jacquelyne. So in summary, make use of your Google. Google is your friend, as they say. So if you are searching for opportunities in any field, type in the field, type in conferences, or type in speaking, and then I think you'll be able to get results under this. So thank you very much, Jacquelyne, for this wonderful session on speaking in conferences. I checked, I guess there's no any other question, or if is there anyone that would like to speak, you can use the raise your hand icon, and then we would confirm. But if there's none, I guess we'll just quickly round up.
Mariam, someone was saying she joined the meeting. She joined when the meeting had already started, but she doesn't know what the meeting is all about. You answered that, right?
Yes, yeah. I answered that already.
Okay,
and,
perfect.
The webinar is being recorded, so and it's going to be posted in the general Facebook, WMI Facebook group, so she can be able to access it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
the other thing is
okay, you can go on.
Go ahead. Yeah. No, I was just saying that if anyone has a question, I am just
Okay,
still
yeah,
around
and then
to answer
there's
any
one.
questions. Yeah.
Someone asked if you can make the PowerPoint, the slides available.
You were you were supposed to give the answer. I can't give the answer. It's you who hosted me to do, to be a presenter for this webinar. So I think that's something that you need to answer. Myself, it's going to be available to you as the gap. Maybe
Okay,
it's
great.
now from you to the rest of the
Okay,
members. Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jacquelyne, for this wonderful session. It was really enlightening and interactive. Yes, then Olive will make it available. Thank you. So it was really interactive and enlightening. Thank you very much for finding time to join. And then for our participants, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you all learned quite a lot from this webinar. See you all in our next webinar, which is going to be in September. So I hope you all will also be available for it to so as to gain more interesting information in topics that will be very beneficial to all of us. So good day, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your weekend. Bye.